What's going on, everybody? This is BoxingWave. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. My weekend pretty much started out with me going downstairs to empty the garbage, went for a short little walk in my brand new Adidas sneakers, fresh, like brand new sneakers, and I stepped in shit. So that kind of set the tone on how my weekend was gonna go pretty much. All right, but listen, let's get right into it. Deontay Wilder, Mark Breland part ways. Okay, they part ways, and we thought that this was going to happen because there was rumors that this was going to happen right after the fight because of what happened in the rematch. We all know that Mark Breland, who is his co-trainer, drew the towel in when Wilder lost to Tyson Fury. All right, and one thing that was said and discussed within the camp was to never throw the towel in. All right, no matter what. And at first, it seemed like Wilder was going to double back and keep Mark Breland in the camp. And now we know that they're parting ways, for whatever reason. We don't know why. We don't know if this was Wilder's decision. Was this Mark Breland's decision? I don't know the details, all right? But it's definitely legit news. It's official. I know one of you guys asked me about it last night when I was doing the live chat with you guys, and someone brought it to my attention. I didn't even know at the time. I was put right on the spot about it, and I didn't go too much into it because, first of all, I didn't even know if it was really true. Not that I don't trust my subscribers, because I do, because you guys are the best, but I didn't want to address it if it was still just a rumor, but I read a few reports this morning about it, and according to Shelly Finkel, it is true. All right. Now, look, I don't want to say it's an unfortunate thing. It is somewhat unfortunate because Mark Breland's been there with him for a long time. All right. So sometimes it just doesn't work out between trainers, and and sometimes people just got to move on. It's happened all the time in the sport. And I know Wilder is making some changes in this camp, as he should. He should make some changes. It was his first loss. It was a big loss. And he should make some changes in the camp, And I think the way that he's been winning his fights up to this point is not going to always work for him. I think he needs to learn to do some type of adjustments. And he's definitely grown. I've always criticized his resume, but I have seen growth in his skill set. I don't think he is a really technical fighter. He's not nearly as technical as Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua. But I've seen him get better at what he does exactly, which is throwing that right hand. I've seen him get better at throwing a shot. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's time. Like, what? This was a big loss, and if you're going to have the third fight, even if you are to lose again, you want to perform better in the third fight. And this is what I've been saying since the end of the second fight. I've made videos. You can check out the videos I did earlier this year. I made videos giving some pointers on what I think Wilder needs to do to win. But removing Mark Breland, I guess it just wasn't working out because a lot of stuff went public. When things go public, it's hard to really be comfortable around people. I don't know if it ruined their personal relationship with each other. I'm sure things won't be the same, but sometimes you got to move forward. It is what it is. It's not necessarily a bad thing that he fired Mark Breland, if he really did fire him, or if Mark Breland decided to move on himself. I don't know. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes it's just, you got to move forward. You got to part ways, and it is what it is. And I'm sure Mark Breland can be in the corner of some other fighters. He's a good trainer. He was a very good fighter. And that's all you can really do from here. All right? Now, moving forward, Wilder's had a whole year now to prepare for this third fight. Many people believe that he lost the first fight. Obviously, he got stopped in the second fight. What do you do? What are some of the key things that I feel that Wilder needs to change? Well, fortunately for him, he's had more time to work on whatever he needs to work on. Right? This is one thing that I said before. July was just too soon for a third fight. It was just too soon. He lost in February. To go back in there like that and take a loss like that, it's your first loss, but lose in that fashion, I think it was too soon to fight in July. I know that they were in contract to fight for a third time if he were to lose the fight. But to lose like that, it was just too soon, too soon. So he has had time to not only recover, but to work on some things. I know he's been in Miami training. He hasn't really been on social media too much, which is good. You don't need no unnecessary distractions. I said recently in a video I did about heavyweights last week, I said the reason why Wilder is not talking about the glove gate and all these other things that's going on, he hasn't gave any real public interview since the loss, is because they are going to use that to build the third fight, to promote the third fight. Why speak on it now when you can speak on it later to build up the third fight? Especially if you're not going to have the fight with a large audience like you did in the second fight and the first, because of COVID and social distancing. Even if they are going to have the fight in February again, even if they don't have it in December and they move it to February, how much of a crowd are you going to really have? They want to make money off that live gate, right? So this is the reason why I said he's not going public about it. I mean, I'm sure he didn't really want to go public about it to begin with, but so much time has passed. Why not talk about it when you're having the build up? They're probably going to have another face off. They're going to do as much, the press conference, the press runs. I don't know what exactly they're doing, but regardless, he's not going to speak so much about it when it doesn't really matter at this point. You might as well stay silent, recover, spend your time with your family, do what you got to do, get your mind right. And then when the third fight is approaching, just start telling all, what you went through. How did you take the loss? Were you depressed during this time? That's what they're going to go into, and, as far as promoting, that's the way to do it. That's why I'm assuming that he hasn't said anything publicly. All right. We seen him on Instagram a little bit, but we haven't seen him say much. As far as what I think he needs to change, well, one thing I know is that you can't run with, if it isn't broken, why fix it? You can't run with that anymore because you lost. So, and you were stopped. So what do you do in the third fight? Well, key things. How much can you change and prepare when you've been fighting this way for so long? Yes, you improved in the way that you fight, but you've been fighting the same way all this time. You never really was focused on winning rounds. You was always focused on getting the knockout. So when a knockout doesn't come, it makes things a little bit controversial, which was the first fight. And then the second fight you lost by, the stoppage. So now you have to work on changing some things. Now, one key thing that I did notice in the second fight, he landed some right hands, but he was mainly fighting on his back foot. He was forced to fight on his back foot. Now, it's not the first time he's fought on his back foot. There's other fighters that's tried to pressure him before. Tyson Fury wasn't the first one to try to pressure him. But normally, Wilder is comfortable when he's fighting on the back foot. Usually, he wants to fight on his back foot. Okay, it's a difference. But when you're being walked down, you're pressured. One key thing that I noticed that when he threw the right hand, it was much quicker than it normally is. All right. He was able to lead with that big right hand and not work behind a jab and still land it. The problem is, as fast as it was, it didn't have the same impact that it normally would have. You know, when he normally is coming forward and when he throws it behind a jab, his legs are really, really stretched out, you know, and he wings it from all the way back here. He fully gets that full extension when he throws it. I noticed that when he was fighting Fury, he was throwing it. It was very quick. Fury wasn't able to completely dodge it, but it didn't have that same kind of impact. I don't think that's a bad thing if you're planning to fight a long fight, which brings me to my point. You have to prepare to win this fight by decision, or at least work for the knockout. You can't go into this fight just looking for one shot. We knew it worked against Luis Ortiz in that rematch. You lost every single round until you finally got the knockout. You can't prepare the same way. You have to win rounds. You're capable of winning rounds. If you not, if you land some good right hands, some jabs like you did in the first round, you won a couple rounds. Some people say you lost. I don't take it that far. Some people say you lost every single round except the rounds you got knocked out in. I don't agree with that. Okay, there were some rounds in there where Tyson Fury wasn't really busy. He wasn't really active. He wasn't really doing nothing. He was doing a lot of feint. You know how that feint he does, but wasn't really throwing any punches. So there are rounds that Wilder won in that first fight where he didn't score a knockdown, right? In this fight, he has to win some rounds, okay? Because if it does go to decision, if you mix some good jabs, you land some good jabs, what you're capable of doing, you land a couple right hands, you could win the round. You could possibly win the round, and you can do damage on Fury while doing it. It might not take just one punch. It might take an accumulation of punches. And at some point, that right hand, maybe you put a little bit more sting on that, put a little bit more power into that right hand, and it'll cause more of a sting. It'll hurt Fury down the line, because Fury's now, he's not being as defensive. He's coming forward, He got hit a little bit more than, normally he would have completely dodged those right hands if he was fighting the way he was fighting in the first fight. But in the second fight, he seemed to be eating them. So if you do that a little longer, do it more, you can possibly win some rounds and hurt him later on due to accumulation, right? Another thing is Wilder needs to focus on his stamina. He's always had poor stamina. I think in preparation of fights, he doesn't really do the road work he needs to do. He needs to work on stamina, okay? And you have all this time, get your body in better shape. We already know that you're a naturally very athletic fighter, okay? The way you move in the ring is unusual. It's not common. You're just a naturally athletic fighter. So with that being said, you need to work on fitness and stamina and conditioning, you need to work on your endurance. You got to be able to go fight at a very high level for a long, long period of time. That's what you need to work on for this fight, because you got a guy that's coming at you for a long period of time and for the majority of the round. And when you're tired, you're moving less. And you need to be able to move those legs. You need to get yourself off the ropes, okay? You need to you got to keep moving. If you're going to be backing up, don't back up against the ropes and keep yourself there. So while, for Fury to clobber you like he did in the first fight. All right, so these are some of the key things he needs to work on for the rematch. All right. But I think overall, work on winning rounds. Work on accumulation. work on stamina, work on lateral movement, keeping yourself off the ropes. Outside of that, what else can you really do? You know, you can shoot jabs, throw more jabs, throw some to the body. You know, try to slow Fury down. All right, because we already know what Fury is coming to do. He's not coming to fight the way he fought in the first fight. He's coming in heavy. He's coming in being aggressive. He's walking forward. That's what worked for him, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to do it again. The only difference is he's going to be even, I'm assuming he's going to be even better at it because he had one camp working and fighting that way. Now he has another camp. He already know what works for him. He's already confident. You know, he already has won the mental war. He's winning the mental war. So what you want to do is make adjustments. They can be made. I know a lot of people feel that Wilder can't change anything. He can. I'm sure he's bringing some new people in. I don't know who he's bringing in. I don't know if he's bringing George Foreman in. I know Floyd Mayweather recently said something about, you know, offering, you know, to train him. He said it before, but now he's been working on becoming a full-time trainer. So look, things could be done. I'm sure there's going to be people down there working with him that we don't know about. They're going to be working on things. I don't think everything that he's working on is going to go public. I don't think it should go public. But just based on my observation of the second fight, he needs to work on stamina. He needs to work on lateral movement. And he needs to work on even further fighting on his back foot. And he needs to win rounds. Okay? And win rounds. The more rounds you're winning, the more punches you're landing, the more the punches are going to hurt later in the fight. All right? So that's not a full breakdown. That's just based on what I think Wilder needs to do. And I did a video like this before, but I'm not sure if I brought up all of these things. You know, it's a video I did earlier this year. You know, when the fight is announced, of course, I'm going to do a full breakdown. But I'm going to reiterate a lot of things that I've said here. All right. I still believe that Fury's going to win the third fight. But if Fury does win, you want to at least perform better than you did before. And even if you lose, even if you get stopped earlier, at least you know you did everything you could to win the fight. All right. That's what the fans want. That's what the fans want. You know, people will respect you if they know that you really fought hard, prepared for this fight. People will respect you. Some people won't, you know, but it is what it is. But you should be able to at least do better. All right. So listen, that's the end of it. You know, I think I covered pretty much everything there. Make sure you guys subscribe again, and I'll see you guys on the next one.